I want to talk a little bit today about early access, why I review early access games, and the absolute hypocrisy of the people who pay £50 for a AAA game, turning around and telling me that I should stop reviewing early access games. And there's even worse people than that, the people who say, I absolutely refuse to buy early access games. But they'll go and buy Forspoken, which was an absolute mess. They'll buy High on Life, which was 9 hours of just bullshit. They'll buy Need for Speed Unbound, which was another messy game. The Callisto Protocol, wow, the Callisto all these games that I've mentioned, buggy messes, guys, that need multiple patches. I mean, look at Scorn, look at the Ghostwire Tokyo, guys. These are expensive games. Some of these games are still £50 or £60. Shadow Warrior 3. Oh yeah. Oh, let's not buy early access games, but let's buy Rainbow Six Extraction. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? That was a mess. That was another buggy fucking mess that needed patching to Oh yeah, let's buy that. There's nothing wrong in paying £50 for a game that's not finished at all. And none of these games that I've just mentioned were really finished. I mean, just because they say they're finished doesn't mean they're actually finished. What's a finished game? Let's discuss a finished game. Well, a finished game is a game that has all its content in place, so it doesn't need extra patches to put content in or DLCs 2 days later to put content in, and most of the bugs is fixed, and it is a good running experience on multiple platforms, because a PC, they're all multiple different types of platform, different graphics cards, different amounts of memory, different operating systems, all of that stuff is different on a PC. So therefore, a finished PC game, the developers will have tested it on all the main platforms that you're going to get on a PC, eradicated the bugs, that have paid for beta testers to come in and squish them bugs over a course of months or even a year before the product is finished. Because that's a finished product. Now, if it isn't a finished product, it's an early access product, because that's what early access is. You are paying for an unfinished game. So tell me, please, you haters of early access, what is the difference between playing for Valheim, say, that is a fantastic early access game that's not finished, or buying Cyberpunk for 50 fucking quid when it released and finding it a broken, buggy, incomplete pile of fucking banter wank? Oh, that's right, there is no difference, is there? But no, there is, Mac, there is. Listen, you know what the difference is? The difference is, Mac, your game, Valheim, the one you like, it says that it's early access. That makes it bad. Our game, Cyberpunk, isn't. It's finished. It's shiny. It's shiny, Mac. It's shiny because it's finished. Look, you get a box and everything if you buy it on console. Battlefield 2042, guys. Battlefield 2042. Look at the absolute state of that game when it came out. Absolute state of it. Look at Saints Row. Look at Settlers' new allies. Oh my goodness. It's finished. Yeah, but it's garbage. Absolute, a rushed pile of garbage. That's what that was. Horrible, guys. Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts is still mostly negative, and it's still £60. Crashes and performance issues. People say that's not even functional as a game. Oh, but that's all right. It's all right when we do it. But Mac, how dare you play War of Rights, that brilliant immersive game that's in early access?
Everybody else, on that line and prepare volley. The south, all right? Get on that pond. Taking south to that fence.
You see
them
buildings
sitting on the fence. 3, 2, 1, fire.
It's garbage. I'm never paying for early access games. V-Rising, puh. V-Rising, that brilliant vampire multiplayer co-op game that's so much fun to play. But that's early access. It's garbage. It's garbage. No. I want to go and play Marvel's Avengers. Yes, because it's more money and it's finished. And on top of that, as soon as I finish that, I'm going to buy The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. You know, that thing that's just an absolute abomination mess at the minute? Oh yeah, we could do that. Because that's fine. That's fine, Mac. Because it's finished, you see. Do you not get it, Mac? It's finished, so it's fine. Your games? What? Satisfactory? Oh, Satisfactory, Mac. It's early access. Garbage, Mac. Garbage. Grounded's great. Grounded's great. Oh, wait. Grounded was early access at first, wasn't it? It turned out great. Oops. Deep Rock Galactic, then. That's it. Oh, no, that was early access that turned out great as well. Like Barotrauma, yeah. And all the other ones, they just picked off the top of my bloody head. You see, guys. Warlong Fallen Dynasty. Oh, God, yeah. You gotta love finished games, don't you? You gotta love finished games, guys. You've just gotta. There's just something about these finished fucking games that's early access. You see, it's the same thing. I'll tell you this, I am way more confident when I pick up an early access indie game about it being good than I am when I install my 72 gigabytes, £50 AAA game. And I've just proved that by the list that I've just reeled off. They're just recent things that's happened. They're just recent games. You know, I haven't even gone back very far. If I went really far back, like if I went back 10 years, my goodness, I'd still be reading the list of absolute shockingly bad AAA games that's released in an unfinished state. So the conclusion is this, simply. Early access are unfinished games. But so are AAA. They just don't tell you. You know, they just pretend they're finished. But, you know, they are unfinished games. If they're not, what's a day one patch then? If they're finished games, what's the point of having a day one patch? And name a game that after the day one patch has been perfectly fixed. There just isn't one, guys. There just isn't any. I mean, the two most popular AAA games this year, to my knowledge, well, maybe Hogwarts Legacy might have something to say about this, but I would say Dead Space 2 and Resident Evil 4, and they're both remakes. They're both remakes. I know I'm not reviewing Resident Evil 4. It's an absolutely scummy game with 21 microtransactions, guys. 21 microtransactions, totaling £67, which were not there when the game was handed out to reviewers. So basically, anybody who was reviewing the game was absolutely, totally and utterly unaware that there was any microtransactions. Now that all the reviews is out and everybody's blown sunshine up its arse, there you go, £67 worth or 21 microtransactions, which include weapon upgrades, ammo, everything. Just pay to bloody win. Absolute scum. Scummy. This is AAA gaming. This is the sleazy filth that is AAA gaming. F*** it. It's just full of overpriced, overhyped, boring, short, repetitive bullshit gaming. And this is why I love indie games. This is why I love AA games. This is why I love a lot of the early access games, because there's not this same level of scum at all. There's nothing like this level of scum in indie games. There's just not. These are gamers making games, not suits making games. There's a big difference, guys. And that's why in my spare time I play indie games. You'll never catch me playing a AAA game in my spare time. Do you know why? Because I don't like any of them enough to play in my spare time. Now, I understand some people's trepidation with early access games because, you know, people have just abandoned games before and you never get your finished game. That is very rare that happens, but it does happen and it will happen again. But I think you're under a far greater risk of buying a AAA game for 50, 60 or £75 and having it being an unfinished pile of shit and remaining that way for its entire existence. That happens all the time. I'll stick to paying £14 for me games and ending up a few years later with an absolute gem. Look at Everspace 2, for example. It's now £44. Some people even mistake it for a AAA game. Nope, that was a cheap indie game that I reviewed 2 years ago, and it's now an excellent £44 or £45 game. I rest my case, guys.
Wait, aren't you gonna say the thing?
What?
You know, Avengers Assemble.